All right, ladies and gentlemen, Natural Freedom League podcast back once again for a special episode, episode number 78, with Funky Fathers, the super spreaders of liberty. I'm here once again with my co host and producer, Chill Will Keller. What's up, Will?
What's up, brother? It's good to be back on the saddle, man. It's been a minute, but continuing to 78 for a special episode. I'm stoked to have these guys on.
Yes. All right. So I was talking to Mike about when the timing of all this was, but it was 5 years ago, and it was in probably around April, and they were trying to pass SB 276 in California, and we had about 5,000 people in the halls of the state capitol up in Sacramento, and remember the security guard saying, "Oh, I've never seen this many people in here," and then came in the buses of the danger-haired nurses and the young interns, right? And they're like shipping them in, and they were walking in. They're kind of looking at us, waiting in line. All these families, and we go in, and you go up to the mic and you say, "Do you support the bill or do you oppose it?" And so all of the people who support it, they would walk up and say, "Oh yeah, I'm a nurse and I represent thousands of nurses across the country." Some organization, and we were just individuals going up one at a time, kids, whoever. We don't support this bill, we oppose this bill. And so I'm sitting there watching, and I see this guy who I'd seen around before at different rallies, and it was Mike, and he walks up to the microphone. He says, "I'm Mike Mattingly. I represent the Funky Fathers, representing millions of fathers all across the country." And so when we were outside afterwards, we were waiting for this rally to happen.
Wait.
What happened?
They don't even know I'm here, and we don't support this bill.
Exactly. And I go up to Mike and I'm like, "Hey, what's the Funky Fathers? How do I join?" He said, "I just made it up. You're Funky Father number 2. So that's how I officially met Mike. And then we ran into each other at some other kind of smaller rallies, and Mike showed me this video he had of this song he had made, and he had this crazy mask on, and then as time went on, Mike was just like, "I'm just going to keep playing these songs. I'm going to show up to all these rallies and just keep playing these songs." And interesting, like even in the movement, there was kind of people, they didn't like Mike's approach. But Mike didn't care. He just kept playing. He ended up on a documentary by Alexandra Pelosi. It just kept doing it. And then through all that, Natural Freedom League developed, and I connected with Will. And then, we started doing our own thing to try to get the word out about freedom and rights and where your rights come from and all that. And Mike's music was like the soundtrack to what we were doing. And so we've had Mike on the podcast a few times. But I'm glad to introduce once again with a new album out with a full band, Mike Mattingly of Funky Fathers.
Yes, sir. Will, John, Wendell, Tim, Tom. Good to see you, boys. These are my Funky Fathers right here. All of these men are the Funky Fathers. I was hoping Lars would be able to call in too. He is a critical member of the Funky Fathers, as well as Gene. Basically all of these guys just stood up and came jam with me. I met Wendell up at the Capitol. Everyone else in the band I met at the beach. I met Tim. He started following me around with his drums and stuff and congas, and he's like, "Come on, let's jam. And I'm like, "Well, we could get a trailer, and that'd be fun," because Tom what's his name? Tom Quinn was like, "Hey, if we have more fun than the other side, then we win." So I thought, we should get a trailer and drive around. And so we got a trailer, and Tim got a band together. He jammed across from the board of supervisors. You want to talk about that, Tim?
Yeah, man. It seems so long ago now. It was Yeah, I don't know. We all kind of had this idea. We'd sit around the fire, on Saturday nights when they were trying to kick us off the beach for not being allowed on the beach, right? And we'd stay there anyway, and we'd just talk about things we could do. And it's like, hey, what if we just got this, like, just set up right across from the courthouse and just blasted them with freedom music? And it's like, all we need is a trailer. We'll just park it on the side of the road in the shoulder, and we'll just point all the speakers right at the courthouse. And that's what we did. And it was a blast, man. We had a lot of fun. We had the Gale to Jail dancers, and they all dressed up and they were dancing to the song Gale to Jail, and people were honking, and everybody loved it, man. It was a great time. It was a way to, sort of, have fun with protest, essentially, right? So yeah, that was a blast, man.
Yeah, we were right in the median on Ocean Avenue, right across from the Board of Supervisors and the courthouse, just blasting away. Yeah.
No rehearsal, right? Never played before. We all just set up and just played Mike's songs. It's like, we'll figure it out as we go, man.
Yeah. And
good too.
Yeah, so today is a special day for me, and for what I consider some heroes from the freedom movement. And I'm just going to do their first names because a lot of them have been very quiet since they were arrested. But this day in 2019, 7 of us were arrested, 6 mothers. And they locked themselves to the doors of the State House. And I'd like to just play this song for a second. This is off the album. And I'm just going to open it up. And, it's probably won't be as good as a physical album that we have available on funkyfathers.com. But this is how we open the album. And I just want to say we never practiced. We didn't practice ever, except we just played on the beach. So I met Tom on the beach. I met Tim at the beach. I met Lars at the beach. And I met Gene at the beach. And they just came and jammed with me. And we just went off. And then this is our... doubling up. Hold on. Yeah, every weekend down at Twin Lakes. Look at him. Straight through the fake gas pandemic. This song was written about September 9th, 2019. And all that came after. We had 6 mothers that went down. They got arrested for putting their bodies on the line. Stop what we're living through right now. Now it's 2021, and everyone can see that this is a pharmaceutical tyranny. I'm out of speaker, I do believe we've got ourselves a quorum. But there's so many people here, getting kind of hard to ignore them. They're chanting in the house, surrounded the Capitol, stomping on the staircase, and they're banging on the walls, and they keep singing, "We the people, we the people, yeah, we the people, we the people here to kill these bills, to kill them." All right, so that is a bit. That's how we open the album, and I'd just like to say, Lauren, Lisa, Crystal, Jaslyn, Carol, and Aaron, as well as Sandra from the Friday before, who was arrested and then unarrested because they didn't want the press to know that people were being arrested protesting this bill. You guys are heroes in my book. So that's why I wanted to start this album with an ode to the mothers, right? So the Funky Fathers giving an ode to the mothers, and they were amazing, literally locking themselves to the doors of the Capitol. And that place went ape. The senators were literally hiding in the basement during that day. And Wendell was he was there on that Friday when people were standing on the chairs and not leaving. You want to tell me what your experience was, Wendell?
Well, the ladies, the Latin ladies of medical freedom. I can't even remember her name now. I should have did my homework.
Yeah, freedom.
Yeah. We had been going, we've been going to a few rallies up to that point, and we could kind of see that it seemed kind of futile, but at the same time, it seemed like, I went before that and actually made a statement. I don't know what day that was. All the dates get all messed up. I made a statement quoting the UNESCO agreement about, the right to be informed before you take any intrusive medical procedure. I said, I'll just say this and this will be great. And of course they cut me off, and it was only like, they cut me off before I got to the real point, but because I introduced myself as being a dad from San Mateo County, or what was I? No, actually Sonoma County at the time. And then so that was another point. And this last time I was almost to the point where, there's a gal that was telling us, you guys are just making it better for them. You're just creating this thing by showing up. You might know who that is, Mike, Kathleen. Anyway, I won't name drop.
Yeah.
But she was telling us that, and I was starting to listen, like, as far as getting the exemptions, she was saying things like, you don't need to ask for a freaking exemption. You need to not be in their schools. And that kind of thing was really starting to resonate with me. And I was like, yeah, what are we doing? But I still wanted to be there because it was people we got along. We agreed about all this. We knew this. Somebody's got to say something. And so it wasn't any question that I needed to be there. So at this point in time, whenever that was, they made their decision to push 276, I think it was then, right?
Yeah, 276, bro. Yep.
Yeah, and these gals are all a lot shorter than me. And there was a short Latin cat there too. And so they all stood up on the chairs, and I was like, oh shit, I can just stand up. I don't gotta get on the chair. We'll be lined up. And just saying we do not consent. We do not comply.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to jump in real quick on that, because just to give people a background, California, 2015, the Disneyland outbreak, they push to take away personal belief and religious exemptions, 277. So they get that through. That's where people start getting together and, speaking out about this, like Wendell was saying. And then we had a few years there where we knew they were going to go for the medical, and people were getting exemptions, but there was only like a handful of doctors in the state that were willing to do that. And lo and behold, right in the beginning of 2019, here comes Richard Pan. He guts some bill and rewrites it and makes it for the medical exemption. So now they're going to go for the medical exemption. There's going to be a board that's going to oversee all exemptions, putting the state between you and your doctor. And that was where it really picked up the pace. So it's interesting that all of what we were saying came to fruition in 2020. And we couldn't have imagined how hard they would have pushed it, but they had run trials, they had run tests, they had done like the flu outbreak in Los Angeles. There were canopies outside the hospitals, but then people would go there and there was nobody there. There was nobody in line.
The measles outbreak, right? You're talking about measles in Disneyland, right?
Well,
this is like towards closer to 2020.
Oh, okay.
They had a flu outbreak in Los Angeles supposedly,
and a hepatitis C outbreak supposedly.
Right,
That's
and
right.
they had tents outside the hospitals, so it was all premonition of what was to come. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to lay that background for anyone that doesn't know.
I kind of jumped right to what I was thinking about in a moment, but don't you remember though? Someone asked. It was on. I remember reading it or seeing a video. Someone asked Pan, "You guys aren't going to go after the exemptions, the doctors too. The doctors writing exemptions too, are you?" And he actually laughed and said, no, that's silly. You're kidding me. We're not going to mess with this.
Silly
And the
shit.
very next year, that's exactly what they did.
Dr. Stroller, I might be getting that last name
Stoller,
wrong. He was
S-T-O-L, yeah, S-T-O-L-L-E-R, yeah.
out of San Francisco, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, my brother and sister-in-law turned me on to him. This is when, at the time, I was thinking about public school for our daughter, and then we were like, no way, not going to do it at all. And they shut him down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, my son got an exemption from Dr. Stoller. It was funny because in 2015, I was like, there is no freaking way this could possibly be constitutional. I'm not even worried about it. They're going to push this thing through. It's going to go to the courts. And they're going to like say, no way, dude. You can't just like force people to have something put in their body to be part of the community. It's just like, where's the privacy? You know, where's the securing your person's papers, places, and effects? I think we have a constitutional amendment for that, right? Bill of Right number 4.
But I mean, before that, I remember they told us when we were doing the referendum to stop 276, right? The first one, right? 276?
277, yeah.
277, excuse me. Yeah. They actually, the organizers told us, don't talk about the science. Don't just ask them, do you want a choice? Right? And that made sense afterwards. Like, oh, okay, yeah, we do this. But I kept thinking, but damn, the science is on our side, though. The science is like, it will crush it, you know? So, and then you thought for sure when they told us 70 shots, oh, people are going to see this and they're going to know. Watch, we're going to show them. I would stand up in front of chiropractors' offices, you know, people, you know, I wear a white shirt. So people, you know, kind of look like a doctor a little bit, you know, and people would come up and they see what's going on. And I thought for sure when they saw that, and sometimes it would bring them pause. They would go, yeah, that's crazy. But I could tell then that people were firmly, it's just like in their position of, no, they saved us. You know, you can't. Well, and that's what Kathleen was saying. I'm gonna drop her name again. She told us then, she said, you guys created anti-vaxxers. I was like, right. We kind of set up COVID. Well, I'm going too far. I'm going too far. Way too far.
There is something to what you're saying. I believe that, but also at the same time, I don't know any of you guys if I don't go to the protest.
That's right. That's
a fact. And so because of those protests, we have an album that is a historical relevance to that time period, right? 2019, you know, I was like, in 2018, I finally got a night's sleep because my son was like, listen, you need to get me back to public school or I'm going to vaccinate myself.
Huh.
It's like, well, do you want to get vaccinated? Well, no, but I need to have some friends.
That's deep.
And I was like, all right, dude, let me see what I can do. And then I've got an exemption. I'm like, oh, I can sleep for the first time in forever.
Yeah, man. No, I got exemptions for my 2
years. 3 weeks later, Senator Payne comes out with like, no, we're going to take away the medical exemption. I'm like, oh, nice. Anyways, so since you keep talking about Catherine, I guess to say, like, I was going to some things during the COVID nonsense. Well, let me just finish with 277. I really was like, no way is it constitutional. I'm not worried about it. And then my son ended up at homeschool. And I don't even, you know, I don't want to go too far into like my kids' history on this thing. They're adults now. So it's like their life. But, you know, it was affecting our family and it was split. Like, just because he was a year too late, he didn't get in where his sister did. And so it was just like this arbitrary number. It had nothing to do with safety or like the health. So I thought it would like, you know, be overridden. It wasn't. Apparently it was a pharmaceutical representative lawyer who defended our position. You can see where that's going. And then Catherine, then COVID comes out. And, you know, the anti-vaccine community was talking largely about asymptomatic spread, right?
Yeah.
Asymptomatic spread, you know, from the diphtheria and the tetanus shot. You know, everybody's actually got tetanus and they can spread it to their grandma, blah, blah, blah. Well, that seemed like it was like a marching order from the pharmaceutical companies with this COVID nonsense go through, right? We don't even have to have symptoms. Asymptomatic spread, right? I was like, oh, they played us.
Yes, sir.
I felt like we got played on that. So I was going to John's place during the COVID. We did, what was the name of the song we did, John? During that we recorded?
Yeah, we did Come Together, a cover of Come Together by the Beatles. We did things people normally did, like getting together, hanging out, and shaking hands. In other words, open rebellion.
We had hundreds of people on the beach every weekend sharing joints and sharing drinks and hugging and kissing, and this went on for a year and a half, and not one person got sick.
That was outrageous, right?
More healthy.
Like, where's this COVID shit you speak of?
It's off the ocean. The ocean sneezes, apparently.
There was actually an article that came out.
LA
You guys know the Kaiser Family Foundation. It's a front group for Big Pharma, and they have this major control in the media where they put out an article and the media runs with it, and they put out this article that in LA the COVID was actually in the midst of the waves, so you didn't want to be near the ocean because you might catch it from the mist and the waves, and they were fucking serious, man.
Well, they were definitely painting it serious. I'm not sure they were really serious.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm interested before we move on from Tom and from T-Dub, like, where were you at around the time of 2019? Did you have any idea that any of this was going on in California?
As far as the bills go, not really. I've been not paying attention to government crap or what they're doing for years. I just was like, just leave me alone, I'll leave you alone, kind of thing. And I a lot of my and I was busy with playing music and I listened to certain podcasts, like Owen Benjamin was one, Sage Aquay. I had my kind of online podcast best friends to have like-minded kind of inner conversations. And all the way through it, I just knew it was bullshit. Plus, for the last 15 years or so, I've been studying the nature of disease because my ex-girlfriend was labeled with a disease called multiple sclerosis. So, for the last 20 years, I was dealing with that, and I still deal with it in a way. I'm kind of caregiver for her a lot. And, years ago, in the beginning of it, I kind of just trusted the doctors. Like, okay, we'll give her this injection. There's no guarantee it'll do anything, but it should slow it down. And then after not seeing it slow down, you start questioning, and then you're like, how could there be this much disability, no physical evidence? This doesn't make any sense. So I started going down the rabbit hole, of just the medical industry, and finding out that the history of the AMA and the oil companies involved in them, and just the petrochemical pharmaceuticals and all of it. And then to finally discover what does cause some of these diseases. I mean, obviously, I don't know everything, but I came to a lot of realizations: parasites, dysbiosis, limbic system malfunctions, things like that can be self-corrected or corrected a lot easier than these hospitals. When these hospitals and these doctors just ignore it. They don't even recognize these things. And then every time you challenge these doctors, they start fighting back. I remember there was this one doctor at Kaiser years ago, Javerbaum or something. I can't remember. But up front, he was a really kind of like sweet guy, wore slippers and a robe, and just kind of a sweater wearing kind of guy, and very approachable. But, after a while, I started asking questions. And I confronted him with some new information I'm not going to get into at the time. It was a long time ago. And I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? And he started getting very defensive. And all of a sudden, this really sweet-mannered doctor at Kaiser was turning into a kind of a tyrant, and just really rude. And I got to the point where I almost wanted to punch him, and we walked out of there. Just never
Mr. Smith.
Yeah. So, after a while, then actually the COVID stuff was even more learning. You're like, oh, wow, what is a virus? Oh, well, there's two definitions. There's the original definition, which is observable, provable, And old, ancient, comes from the old Hebrew root viri, or virus, or venom, which is just poison, which could be anything, really, that's not good for you. And then there's the modern medical definition of it, which falls off a cliff and doesn't make any sense. And there's no actual physical evidence of these things. So, I mean, that was one good thing that came out of COVID. Is it's like, oh, well, I'm just expanding my medical knowledge of what is and what isn't. And that's the biggest thing of just, medicine in general, is what is and what isn't. What can you prove and what is physically there and what is physically not? Or what can you prove and what you can't prove? So in the beginning, going back to what your question, I guess, I saw it coming in early December. They're talking about it. There was rumblings of it. And I never thought it would get off the ground as much as it did. Actually, it was like, oh, this is good. This will crash the stock market. And I'll get in at the bottom and then make some money. I had no idea. It would take it as far as it did. I didn't think that many people were going to be duped. That shocked me. And that was the scariest thing, that my friends and family just fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. And there was no talking to them about it. And even to this day, I lost so many friends. I met a lot of great new friends. Hello, guys, how's it going? Blessing at the same time, But yeah, I was in like two very, working bands at the time. We'd play and perform all the time. Our last show was in February of 20 in one of my main bands, and then the bullshit hit. That's what I call it. I can't even say the word.
Yeah, it's better not to.
Because to me, it almost manifests more of the nonsense. I just call it nonsense and bullshit,
Yes, sir. I agree with that.
Yeah, and then I was in two bands, and they just, I remember we had a Zoom conversation because we couldn't get together and talk, and I remember it was kind of like this, and we're talking actually at work. They're like, "What are you doing at work?" I'm like, "I still come to the office." I mean, luckily my job, no one fell for it at my office. I was very fortunate, and we actually threw out some county inspectors that came into our office. They came into our office to inspect how we, like, if we were staying 6 feet apart or if we were wearing masks or whatever. And they came in to find that no one was wearing masks, no one was staying 6 feet apart. We were just not paying attention to any of it. It was actually one of the few normal places to go, was actually going to work. And these code enforcers, county code health enforcers, come in, and it was like throwing up. You know how you just can't stop? You gotta, like, when you're gonna throw up, it's gonna come out, and there's nothing you can do about it. But it was just like that. I turned around, I seen him come through the door and start asking questions. I stood up in rage, and I just chased them out. I'm like, get the I don't know if you can say this word online.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fuck out of here. Get out. I kept saying it, get out, until they scurried out the door like a bunch of rats. And then everybody in my office was shocked. They're like, holy crap. And the owner of the company was a really cool guy. He wasn't there at the time. And I did feel like I stepped out of bounds, because I'm like, well, it's not my company. I don't own this company. I don't have the right to tell these people to leave. It's the owner should do it, but he wasn't there. So here's the punchline. So the owner comes back from lunch, and he walks in the office, picks up the mail from the front desk, and he looks at the receptionist. She's like, sorry, missed anything while I was gone? And she's like, well, there's these code enforcers that came in, and they wanted us to wear masks. And he stops looking, he looks at her, and he's like, did you tell them to get the fuck out of here? And everybody in the whole office laughed, and they're pointing at me, and they're like, no, but Tom did.
Nice.
And I'm like, and that actually put pressure on our office. About a month later, I guess my office manager got a call from the county, probably something threatening, I don't know. So the owner's like, so he gets off the phone like a couple months later, and I could tell he's kind of concerned, and he looks, and he's like, so everybody, tomorrow when we come in, we wear masks. And he says it very, cautiously. And everybody, again, looks at me. They look at me, and they're like, what's Tom going to do? And I could see he was kind of around the corner from where my desk was, so I could see him peering around going, Tom? I'm like, I can't do that. I'm sorry. I just won't. And he's like, okay, well, I did my part. I asked, and they're not going to do it, so this is the way it is. And we never heard from the county again, and that was fine. So
no.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You actually experienced.
Yeah,
experience
and
them
then,
coming in.
yeah, and then slowly friends started drifting away. Bands thought I was crazy. The two bands I was playing in, here's another weird story. I was in a band called, I won't get into who because I don't want to name names and stuff. But I was in a band, and the leader gave me a call, and he was like, "Hey, man, we're gonna start rehearsing again, but we'll do it at my place. We'll wear masks and we'll stay 6 feet apart while we do it." And I just said, "Paul, sorry." I'm like, "I can't do that. I just can't. I'm not going to do it." And he's like, and then this is the weird part. He goes, "What do you think? We're all a bunch of libtards? Libtards? I didn't even. How did this get political all of a sudden?" I'm like, "Is this political now?" He's like, "What do you think? Were you Trump supporter, or I don't know?" You started going crazy, And finally, I said, "Paul." Oh shit! I said his name. Sorry, Paul.
That's all right.
So it's just the first name.
There's
Anyway.
lots of Pauls, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of Pauls out there. So I'm like, stop, just stop. Like, call me back when you want to rehearse normally again, and I'll be willing to come over and we can continue where we left off. But until then, goodbye.
It's always Paul. Paul always ruins the band, man. What about T-Dubs? What were you? I feel like you were like politically active before the pandemic.
Yeah, we had gone to some protests, in Sacramento and stuff, and we were really we had followed the kind of vaccine scam that was going on for many years. We had followed it for a number of years since our son was born, really. And by the time he was 13, they were trying to pass 277, and we said, "That's it, we're pulling him out of school." So we immediately took him out of school. My wife started homeschooling him, and that was it. We just never looked back. And I didn't know I didn't follow this stuff in detail. I knew it was all just bullshit, and I didn't really care. It was like politics. Like Tom said, I didn't really care about the nuances. I just knew it was all bullshit. But I was in Florida at Bike Week, March 2020, and hanging out with my family down there, and we were having a great time. And people were starting to wear masks, and it was like, what's going on? These people are nuts, man. And I'm just kind of laughing and stuff. And I get on the plane to fly back to California, and everybody on the plane's got masks on. And I'm looking around like, what kind of freak show is this? Like, what are these people on their minds? Like, what? Like, anybody with half a brain knows this isn't going to help you from whatever you're afraid of. And they've got, it was one of those international planes. So they've got TVs across the whole front. It must have been like 6 TVs across the front of this plane. And every one of them had the news on, and they're talking about this, this pandemic, and I'm just like, it sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me. And then it was what I'll never forget. It was when the newscaster said, "We might have to shut down the entire world economy." That's when I went, fake. That's bullshit. You don't shut down an entire economy for a flu or what, I mean, come on, man. This is going to destroy the entire global economy, which of course it did. And then they just printed a bunch of money to, print their way out of it and just sold our kids down the road. Right. So we're like, what can we do, man? Like, they said stay home, and so we said we got to start having parties. And I mean, you do the opposite of what the government tells you, right? So they tell you to stay home, you start having parties. So that's what we did. We just started having people over every Friday night, Saturday night. What more can we do? I don't know. Let's go to the beach or something, And so that's when I started meeting Mike and these guys, and we started gathering at the beach. And at one point, I'll let Mike tell the story. But at one point, they actually shut the beach down for a long time. And we said, well, this is perfect. This is the best place to be, right? This is the place we're not supposed to be. That's where we're going to be, right? And we ended up basically taking it back and reopening it. So, a few people got arrested and stuff too. We won't mention any names, but one guy actually went to trial for a week for standing on the beach after 10 p.m.
Well, you gotta stand. You gotta make a stand sometimes, and when they don't acknowledge that there's another jurisdiction that you operate in, sometimes you gotta go into their own jurisdiction and kick their asses. That's all I have to say about that.
They actually took taxpayers' money. Well, maybe it's not taxpayers' money. We can argue about that, but to put a man on trial, Mike the Funky Father, for an entire week.
Here, let me
standing on the beach at 10:01 p.m. I mean, the insanity was never.
what that looked like a little bit. Let me see if I can find the right angle.
Oh, the standoff. Yeah,
This
we got video of the
the,
standoff.
this is on the disc for the Super Spreaders of Liberty. You can see. I don't know if you guys can see that or not.
Yep.
That's me being arrested, like by 7 cops for violating what they call the curfew, which there is no curfew in California for the beach unless you get the Coastal Commission to give you permission, because they're protecting Article 10, Section 4 of the California State Constitution. But I don't really want to get into that right now.
Oh,
What
shit,
I
you into it.
do is like Tim and Trader Joe's, and our friend who had tried to go in to Trader Joe's, and they told her she had to wear a mask because she was 8 months pregnant. And we thought, well, that ain't right. The baby needs some oxygen, right? There's exemptions to this nonsense or whatever for the bloated. And so Tim organized something, and then he wrote a letter. Yeah, he wrote a letter to the cops telling them, we're coming. Stop us if there's a real law. What happened, Tim?
They didn't show up. They waited for us to all leave before they showed up because they knew there's no law. And then they got on camera and pounded their chest. We'll arrest these people any chance we get. They're violating the law, knowing there's no law. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
but that shit went viral. We had about 3 million views or something, and we're on like the front page of Infowars.com for like 2 weeks or something. That was pretty bad. We had 17 people, and we just walked right in, just like normal people. Like, imagine walking into a store like normal people.
And what were the abnormal people doing as we walked into the store?
Yeah, and so we got attacked. I mean, they were throwing baskets and fruit at pregnant women. I mean, it was insane. There was fruit flying. There was people screaming. And we're just like, I'm here to buy a sandwich. Like, what is the big deal? And we walk up. We all buy one item. That was the plan. We're all going to buy one item, and they're going to refuse to take our money because we don't have a mask on. And we're just going to drop the cash, and we're going to overpay to cover taxes and everything. And we're just going to peacefully walk out. It was a peaceful protest. And here we are in Santa Cruz, of all places, right? The peaceful, hippie town. And these crazy hippies are attacking us. They're throwing shit at us. They form a line of scrimmage at the door so that we can't get out. So we've already paid for these items, and now they're stealing them back from us as we're walking out the door. It's like, no, I paid cash for this. And so they formed this line of scrimmage, and it was so chaotic. And I just remember, I'm getting the hell out of here. I was like one of the first people to check out. I'm just like, I'm out, man. Like, we're not supposed to hang out. That wasn't part of the plan, Wait for the cops to show up, So as I come out, I get out to the front, and there's just chaos everywhere. And I see our buddy Jim, and he comes running through the line of scrimmage with his sandwich like this. And he spins right out, and he pops out of the parking lot and puts his hands up like he just scored a touchdown. And he's got this big smile on his face. He's like, yeah, get out. And there's photos. You can see
on the way out.
Photos of these guys.
It was probably a delicious sandwich.
Good thing you didn't spike it.
Ginger cookies. That was the only reason he was there. He wanted ginger cookies, man. That, he can only get them at Trader Joe's, and he hadn't gone since the bologna. He's like, I'm going to go, and I'm going to get me some ginger snaps.
It was crazy.
We had a camera guy following us around the whole time. It was great. He got the whole thing.
That letter, though, made its rounds in the news, right?
Oh, yeah. So, right, yeah. So what happened was so it made the news because I contacted the news, the police, everybody. I wanted to make this into to proving a point. So I sent a letter to the Santa Cruz PD saying, look, I'm challenging you. We're challenging you. There's no law here. And the news, to their credit, the local news, it was like ABC or something, the local Santa Cruz one, actually, I give them a lot of credit. They actually did a unbiased show on this. And they actually showed my letter to the police department, to the chief. And they juxtaposed it with his statement where he's got his mask on, he's beating his chest, and we're going to arrest these people. And they actually showed my letter that says there is no law. Show me the law. And that was it. I won. That was like, Hands down, man.
And that's a funky father in action right there. You know, we just saw a problem and he like handled some business. He organized a letter. I mean, we gave him just notice, right? You told him, we're coming, man. We're coming. If you guys really have law to back this up, well, you need to come stop us. And they didn't do it. So Funky Father Tim stood in the freaking breach. And believe me, it wasn't easy. Like what he went through afterwards, it's outrageous. You know, in Santa Cruz, you know, you're doxxed and you're outed and you know, whatever. For me, I have nothing to lose, so it doesn't really matter. You know, they can say whatever they want about me. You know, I was like, well, it's about time they said something because I feel like they don't say stuff because they don't want people to know that something's going on. Yeah. Right. So this kind of behavior is what is needed in the world. Otherwise, nobody knows anything and they just follow the rules right into the freaking fire. Yeah. You know, and step right in and that's it. You know, so these guys, this is the band, right? These are the people I play with. It's not just because we're like great musicians, which in my opinion, I've been blessed through this nonsense to meet some of the finest musicians I've ever played with in my life, you know, and to like never practice, but to be able to put out a song. And as far as Catherine goes, Wendell, she is correct. You know, we need to step away from the government schools, right? And I was listening to a podcast with her. I was like I was going through a bunch of stuff at the beginning of the baloney. And I was going to John's house and we're going to talk about, you know, I don't even remember what we were talking about. Loans and like, you know, not paying taxes and how to like take over your control of your whole estate. But on the way up there, you know, I was doing two things at the same time. I was trying to be part of Catherine Durant's thing. And she was like, you know, I had to sign off or whatever. And then I got in the car and I'm riding home and I turned the thing back on. And she's still going. And she's like, at the very end of this thing, she's like, all I know is you gotta love liberty. If you don't love liberty, you don't love anything. You need to love liberty. That's all I know. And so I wrote this song for her. And I just want to say that this song for me is an example. If you listen to the Six Strings of Liberty, and it's just me playing my guitar and singing, versus what happens when these guys, I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, at all, we don't practice. Tim's moving to Mexico. Gene's getting kicked out to Florida. And I'm like, well, we got to record this thing as a history piece, right? And so Catherine Duran maybe do this thing, but this is the difference. Like, we don't talk about anything musically. We never say anything. Literally, we just talk. We just play. We go up, there we are. Stand. That's the back of the album. You know, this is.
Sometimes I say, what was that freaking chord you played, Mike?
Yeah. But what I would do is just play it. And that's it. We would just like work our way through it on the stage, which is this little code right here where the wheel is showing this, where this is where we play every weekend, all the time. But this is what the song sounds like when you add a band. And it's just outrageous, like what they came up with. This is not something I would have come up with. This is what happens when a band plays and they're free to do what they want to do. So I'm going to play this tune right now. And this is from Catherine Duran, and this is my response to her saying, you gotta love liberty. Where I gotta love her, live a liberty. Yeah, she's always telling me I gotta be free. Oh, I never gonna put any chains on me. Yeah, she's the kind of lover that you don't leave it up. Yeah, if I want people, I gotta keep her right. Yeah, liberty, you know I'm gonna be the man.
Look at Tim out there organizing shit.
Oh, we fit together so naturally. Yeah, this song God given to me. Oh, she is only my beauty. Yes, I want people. There's the greatest thing of the whole evolution. Yeah, come on, baby, you gotta get up and fight. So, anyways, I want to go all the way.
Yeah, that song rocks.
The difference between just me and these lovely human beings who came to play with me, that's the spot we played at on Saturday, right there. This is where I met all these guys. This is where it all went down. This is where we practiced.
Hey, my friends, I'm so excited for you guys tonight. You ready for some music and some fun, some freedom on the beach while the sunset happens?
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's a beautiful
David
day.
Rodriguez.
And like you said, 21 Saturdays in a row. Free people don't ask permission to be free. We exercise our freedom, and that's what we're doing. There's a new paradigm, my friends. It's called personal sovereignty. You're a king. You're a queen. You own yourself. And we're seeing and exploring that today because the organizations out there use coercion, and it's no longer acceptable, and they're not going to go away. So we are united in peace, love, joy, and harmony. And this is just the beginning because we are united with a spirit of harmony and peace. And it's going to be beautiful and lovely tonight, as you will see. So give it up for the unbelievable, talented, funky fellas in the Freedom Foundation, live here on Twin Lakes AP.
Yeah, Mike, I didn't know you had an MC.
Yeah. Hype man.
It came down, man.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Hype man.
Fuck yeah.
David Rodriguez is the the voluntarist, the man who like put together these this bonfire. That's enough. So they have here.
Yeah.
Right. So this is where we did it. You know, this is where we came together. This is where I met Tom. This is where I played with Tim. This is where I met Lars. There's Lars over there. This is where Gene walked onto the up and said, "Hey, man, I play bass. I heard you like to, I want to jam with you guys." I said, "Well, go get your bass." Right? And it was always something different. You know, we always had different players. But I think, the album cover of the Funky Fathers Super Spreaders of Liberty album, this one right here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Shredder's Liberty album.
Look at that guy gigging, Mike.
That might be the only picture where me, Tim, Gene, Tom, and Lars all played together. Right? So, yeah, I mean, we always played with different people who could ever show up because, like, you know, the fathers, we all have family responsibilities we need to attend to. But yeah, so, you know, Catherine Duran was like, she was spot on, right? We're all begging to be in part of these government schools, right? And at the end of the day, you know why kids want to go to school? To socialize, to meet other kids, right? That's what they do, you know. And this is it. I mean, this is almost the back of the album cover right here. Look at that.
Right?
It's like, there it is, man. You know, Twin Lakes. I mean, the heart of the rebellion in Santa Cruz. Do you know that, like, Seabright Beach across that harbor was owned, like, claimed by the Church of Satan? And they said they would clean it up, you know, Church of Satan. Look at that guy.
I had no idea. Wow.
Man, it was quite a circus, wasn't it?
You're getting them bouncing.
Yeah, we had some craziness going on, but the craziest thing though was, like, we did Free Hug Fridays. You know, me, Tim, and Lars. I think Tom did a few. Like, we moved it over to the lighthouse, and the other stuff was at the boardwalk. And these were, like, during the heart of the nonsense. We would go down to the boardwalk and put up signs that said free hugs, right? And at first I was just there with a sign, holding up, hugging people. And people would literally get out of their cars and they would come up to you and hug you. They would park. They would double park in the middle of the road, right? And just run over and hug you and cry, weeping, because they hadn't been touched in months. You know, nobody had touched them in months. And there they were, you know. And we started playing out there, the Free Hug Fridays. And then we moved it to Free Hug Sunday. Free Hug Friday sounds better. But Free Hug Sunday, we, like, went out to the lighthouse and started playing out there. And we'd have surfers yelling at us and telling us David Rodriguez is the devil. And I'm like, you'll thank us later. And I had to tell you, somewhere around 2021, we played out there. Me, Gene, and I think Tom. And I don't know if Tim was out there or not. But we played, and this one surfer was just hassling us the whole time. He came out, and he's like, you know, he walked by, and he's all free. I'm like, hey, you know what? You're welcome, bro. Now you can surf without a mask on your face. I mean, craziness. Anyways.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Where were you during all this, Wendell?
Oh, no. You're not going there, are you?
Actually,
Mike, I just saw that gal. Is it Julia? I just saw her there on the beach. I'm trying to share the guilt here, but we're another California refugee in Texas. Julia, was she there or not?
She was there a lot, yeah.
Okay. I just thought I just saw her in that clip right there. So yeah, I was actually already, was that 21 or 22?
That was all of it.
That was probably 20.
What did we just see clips of? Just 21? 20? Oh, it doesn't matter. Man, listen, okay.
I kind of forget. I mean, I didn't start playing.
This is probably 21. Yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't. It doesn't even matter, dude.
I just meant like, how'd you get out of California?
I bailed. I'm gonna be honest. I bailed May 20th, 2020. Maybe like May 25th.
Yes, Wendell rode off, and I was crying as he drove off. Oh no, man! It's just me here now.
But he did a great job in England just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I kind of told Mike. I probably told Mike I was leaving. Maybe not, but
you told me. No, I was at your house like a week before you left. We were jamming up. You're like, yeah, we're moving to Texas, bro.
I didn't know if I told too many people exactly when I was leaving because they were talking about roadblocks and
Yeah,
excuse me. So I had a similar story to Tom. I almost, got a little teary when Tom was telling his story because I had 2 bands that I was playing. Like, well, I actually quit one band already because they were already looking like they could have drank some Kool-Aid. And then I found out I was really endeared to that I helped start. It went through a couple different wild changes and some of the baddest players in the Bay Area. Man. I still say that. I mean, some of the most, they're still there. So that's why I'm not going to talk smack. I love them all dearly. And dearly. And they're badasses. But anyway, so I called like right before they actually made an announcement to announce we need to stay 6 feet away. Stay home if you need to stay home. Just go out. You could tell they were getting ready they were kind of bringing it up. It wasn't really made a mandatory thing or whatever they call that. They were talking about it. And so I called like one of the other, I would call each other officers of the band. I called one another cat. I was like, yo, D, I was like, shouldn't we should get together and we should go to rehearsal right now, maybe have some food, right? And I kind of was thinking, why am I doing this? I thought about it later. It's like, I knew why I was doing it because I knew he was going to say, no, man, I gotta protect you. You gotta protect me. And we just gotta ride this out. Couple of weeks or so. And I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, man, because I get it. And but I knew then, I was like, man, we had already been looking for land in Texas. But when I made that call, I kind of knew right then I gotta go. Well, it was that, and then it was the sand in the skate parks, man. That blew me away. When I saw that they dumped sand in a skate park, messing with these like marginal people, like, right? Some of these kids, that's all they have is skating. You know what I mean? And that hit me hard. That really hit me hard. I mean, that and my kids going to school and all that, but I was like, we got to go. And then we bought this place, man. From a satellite photo, we were like, that one. That one. We actually hadn't even moved it. We had a friend that was living out here and they looked after it while they did a few things. And it was the
one that's not in California.
It had a little bit of land. I was like, my kids play lacrosse. I was like, shoot, we'll have a little 4-on-4 lacrosse tournaments. I don't care. Let's go, So, so I left May 20th. Long story short, John, I left May 20th. I didn't even know about the whole. We can go into another story.
So we actually lost our bass player before the band even started.
Yeah, what happened to that dude? Yeah,
it took us like 9 months.
You got Gene. You had Gene.
It took us 9 months to find Gene.
Yeah, I think Gene and I kind of started around the same time. I think I might have met you. Well, we all met at Arlene's. I heard someone from like either I think it was Vin. He was going to the beach and watching you guys play, and he had this one video. This is before I even heard of Monkey Fathers, and he had this video of you guys playing. And I remember listening to it, going, "Man, these guys fucking." Oh, sorry, should I not say that? Rock, these guys rock. And I'm like, I have to admit, I was like, oh man, I wish I was doing that. It sounds like they're really having a great time, and they sounded really good, and they were just the energy level you can tell was just through the roof. And then it was maybe a month or two later, there was a big freedom gathering at a friend named Arlene's house, and Mike was there, Tim came, I think Dave Rodriguez, and then and they came for a little while and argued with a sheriff. Who actually is a nice guy now, but he's a retired sheriff. And they had to leave early because they had to get back to the beach because they were playing a show that night. And then right before Tim left, he was almost out the door. He turns around and he's like, "Are you Tom that used to play with Grandpa's Chili?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." He's like, "Hey, that's great." And I think sometime later, he asked me, he's like, "Would you consider playing with us?" And I'm like, and my first thought was like, well, you got a smoking guitar player already. I mean, Lars is a great guitar player, and there's some of that energy that I heard in that little video that was coming from Lars. And I'm like, look, you guys really don't need another guitar player. You got a smoking one already, you know. And then Tim said, and you know, God bless Lars. He you know, he has a family and he couldn't make it all the time. So Tim said, you know, hey, well, he can't make it all the time, and it'd be great to have someone at least come when he's not there or whatever. So we had a first rehearsal with everybody: Lars, Gene, Tim.
The only
Mike,
rehearsal.
At this,
That's the only rehearsal we ever had.
One rehearsal. We had one.
But the bass amp didn't work.
Yeah, the bass amp didn't work, and that was the first time I met Gene. And we played, and I forgot what song it was, but there was one song that we just took out, and it just jammed. And everyone was there. Lars was there, Gene was there, Tim, Mike, and it just blew the little teeny recording studio up. It was awesome. And then we stopped and kind of looked around at each other, and we're like, wow, that was really cool, you know. And then I think Tim said something like, he's like, yeah, kind of Grateful Dead-ish. I'm like, crap. that was not my intention, you know. But yeah, I think it was that. He was like, okay, well, can you show up Saturday? And the Saturday was my first show with the Funky Fathers. I think it was early 21, because I remember it was cold, or it was late 20. I forget when exactly. And the first time was actually the most chaotic. You know, I didn't know what to expect. They show up, I'm like, I don't care. We're going to go. And put my amp down and we start setting up. Next thing you know, like all hell breaks loose. You know, the cops show up. They try to break it up. And then next thing you know, Dave Rodriguez comes out and he's confronting the cops with paperwork, and Mike's confronting him with paperwork. And this cop, and I'm setting up, and this cop comes up to me and he looks at me and he says, you look like the leader. And I looked at him like, I lead no one. And I walked away like, these are the droids are looking for. These are not the droids you're looking for. And I just walked away. And then he just kind of like he was still standing there looking straight ahead when I walked away, like I just disappeared or something. and then I think maybe it was the same night or maybe the next Saturday. I remember someone threw a beer bottle at us or something, you know, from the road. You know, luckily I didn't hit anybody. You know, but yeah, the first few shows were, you know, were fun. That was fun. I loved it. You know, bring on. You know,
and that actually happened every single Saturday night. The beach patrol would come, and they've got guns and everything. They would tell us, "Oh, we're not allowed to be on the beach. You know, you got to leave the beach. You're not allowed on the beach." And we'd always have one person or two people go up to them and just say, "Where's the law? Show me the law." You know, it's like there is no law. So bye-bye. And that was every Saturday night for like, I don't know, was it a year and a half or something? That was crazy.
Yeah, we had people in Santa Cruz who decided like they hated David Rodriguez. And in fact, their parents were telling him to go harass him. Yeah. And then that extended to harassing us. And so we would like play. We're on the road. We're literally between the road and the beach. Like that little alcove thing is like it's a little like put on your shoes and bring up your cooler spot, and we take it over and play there. And every like for like a month and a half, they would come by, they'd throw eggs at us and like throw like hard boiled eggs, and we got babies out there and stuff like hanging out. And so eventually we chased them down and cornered them and said, listen, man, we'll debate you guys anytime you want. We'll educate you, whatever you want. We're not here to like beat you, but you guys need to realize if you damage somebody and you think we're out here trying not, and where our actions are like damaging people. People here are all here of their free will, right? So there's nobody is concerned about what you think is safety. And they left us alone after that. But Tim, every time he'd be packing up his freaking drums, someone would come by and throw eggs and hit him. Like it was like 2 or 3 times this happened, you know.
We had to hire security. We actually had volunteer security. We had guys positioned. One guy was like across the street in the dark. The other guy was down the street a little bit. We're just waiting for these kids to show up, you know.
Hey, Mike, I wanted to ask you where you guys recorded and how was that experience in kind of a, professional recording session?
Well,
Sessions.
I go say this. This is. I'm just going to give you a broad view of like kind of like how it happened. So Tom has a friend in New Almaden in a place called the Dungeon. We're like in the beach in the sanctuary of the Monterey Bay. So to go from the Monterey Bay into the dungeon was a little bit weird, right? It was 112 degrees. I don't know.
It was hot.
It seemed like it. I definitely sweating the whole time. No breeze, and we were recording live in an area that's about as big as my garage, right? So we got 5 dudes all playing live, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be tough. And Tim's 6'6" or something. He's got like an I-beam or whatever, a beam right over his head, and these drums are like attached to the floor, so he can't move them. So he's got his head like tilted the whole time, so he fits under this beam. It's super hot. Lars doesn't like the amplifier provided, so he brings his own and like throws that one out, which Scotty was like, oh my God, it's going to ruin my sound. I don't know. So we kind of like, that happened. Everybody's complaining because it's 100 degrees. Tim's leaving town. He's like, I don't know if I can make it, bro. I'm like, dude, this is a historical relevance. You need to be here. I gotta sell some stuff. I'm leaving to Mexico tomorrow. I'm like, no, you're freaking coming to this thing right now. So, he shows up. It's like, I don't know, 1 in the afternoon. We were supposed to be there at like 9, 10 o'clock or whatever. So we got 4 dudes hanging around. We're sweaty and pissed off. And Tim comes in. He's like, it's never going to work. I'm 6'6". Look at this big thing. Tom out of here. I don't do toms. I do hi-hat and snare, like a kick. That's it. Why do we have all this other stuff here? What is going on? Oh my God. We play outside. We're a freedom band. This is oh my God, this is fucking horrible.
This is a dungeon in New Almaden. Yes. Welcome to the dungeon.
Right. And so we played, like just went through the songs like a couple times, some of them only once or whatever. I'm like, oh, well, that's what we got, all right. And then, like, everybody leaves. I'm like thinking, everyone's complaining about how terrible it was. I'm like, so I don't even listen to the tracks for like a year. Literally, I'm like, I don't know, get the tracks to me whenever you can. Probably garbage. And then I got them, and I'm like, oh, these are pretty freaking good. They just need to be mixed. And it took me 8 months to get a hold of the tracks, and then I mixed them. It took forever because we did it live. There's no like forgiveness in live recordings, right?
One of the songs I didn't even know. I was playing through the break.
I'm just
one that probably didn't make it.
Not all of it made it to the album. Let me tell you, right? So it was beautiful. I mean, it was terrible and beautiful all at the same time. When I got the tracks, I was like, wow, there's a lot of energy in this, right? And it just reminded me of all things we've gone through. And it was a lot. Lars was great. He would when we were at the beach, he'd like sit and jam with me. And I just like Gale to Jail, right? Gale to Jail came to be because me and David Rodriguez and Bernadette were in a little studio at Craig's house, and we're in the backyard in this little studio, art studio or whatever, and for some reason we were trying to come up with derogatory things for Gail Newell, who was the health director of Santa Cruz County, who shut down the county when there was 3 deaths, which happened to align with SB 262, which said if there are 3 cases, you, the health director, can burn your freaking house down if it's infected. So we thought, well, we need to do something about Gail Newell deciding to shut down town. And so he wrote on this sign that says Gail. And it was like Gail. I'm like, wait, is that how you spell Gail? Like Gail to Gail? That was it. And then like the next day, we're at the beach on Saturday at the what I like to say, David Rodriguez decided to open the committee to reopen Santa Cruz to save lives. That's why we were at the beach, right? So we had this Gale to Jail sign, and he's like, "Yeah, Mike wrote a new song called Gale to Jail." I'm like, "I did." I'm like, okay, and then like. Well, I can do the one that's like from the album. What's going on? Did I do this?
Pretty solid.
Can't stop the music. It just wants to be played.
Mike.
All right. No, if we're gonna do that, let's just go ahead.
Yeah, put on Gale to Jail.
Gale to
That was supposed to happen, apparently.
Oh wait, we got two going again. This happens. I don't know. The jammers, right? This guy's just jamming. This is introduction. Everybody's miserable. Oh, Gale to jail, Gale to jail, Gale to jail, Gale to jail, Gale to the rights stay on for sale. Oh, Gale to jail, Gale to jail, Gale to jail, Gale to jail. Your plan, never scam, never sham, never gonna fail. Yeah, 7 days equals how many livelihoods? Everything that you did is all for the public good. But how many lonely children finally lost their minds? Yeah, it's Gail's face on really broken. That's actually Gail Newell's house. And we were singing this tune. And the neighbors hated it. Gale to jail, Gale to jail, Gale to jail, Gale to jail. Gale knew you big mama too. That's right, she's a big farmer too. Gale to jail, Gale to jail, Gale to jail, Gale to jail. Gale knew how could you be so through your blues? You're making grandma die without any love. It's such a sad song, but it's what happens. We won't have a world in fear of really loving home. Because Friday, your new world order tonight is running out of time. Santa Cruz County, first site university, Agenda 21. Some people won't be governing this way. Yeah, we all see today. In my way, love is out of compliance. We won't hear any more of your fake ass you inside it. Stop knocking out of business deals down with finding threats of violence. Remember that? I know people like did you read about that? We just lay down and die inside. Come on, go, get louder. It's all people love the freedom in this band. Yeah, so I don't want to get too far into it, but yeah, man, that's when we recorded that stuff. It was not a happy experience, but at the end of the day, I got the tracks. So I was like, wow, these are pretty good. Let's mix this stuff up. So that was recorded in 2021, and I didn't get that till me and Tom and Wendell went to England like a day beforehand. So you know, it's been a pleasure and a real treat to just be able to be with people who can just throw down like that. I mean, it's outrageous. The band we just threw down. And I've never been in a band like that. I mean, I toured professionally with Skank and Pickle, and I was in a couple other bands and whatever, but nobody jammed like this band. This band straight up jammed, you know, and it keeps it interesting because you never know what you're going to get every night. So, I mean, I love these guys for just being able to do that, you know, and do it in a studio. You know, we did 2 takes of every song, and that was it. If it, you know, if the mic was shocked me, which it did, or if there's distortion or Tom forgets to turn off his freaking pedal.
Yeah, that bugged me. I know.
It's just the way.
It wasn't until later when Scotty pointed it out, I didn't even realize. He was like, you know, you had your phaser on the whole time. I'm like, ah, crap. Thanks.
It sounded real, right? That's all that matters. It's like, you guys sound real.
Yeah, man.
And then, you know, we were able to go to England and have people sing along to our tunes out there. And it was outrageous. Wendell came and Tom came. Tim was supposed to come, but the $4,000 ticket to be there for 2 days, he was like, I don't know if I can afford that.
You can't go to England for 2 days. You got to go for at least a week, you know.
Well, had more to do with 0 days off. New job, 0 days off. Fly 24 hours to England. Play a gig. Fly 24 hours back.
Yeah.
For about $2,000.
You don't like freedom. I love freedom. I'm not imprisoning myself. Forget about it.
I want to know where the sponsors are.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, the fact that you're willing to even you know, put this in your bailiwick and think about it and really want to do it, you know, it's a testimony to the Funky Fathers and what we did. There were still, you know, I still consider you the drummer. I played with 4 or 5 different drummers since you, but you know, I think of you as you're the Funky Father drummer, dude. You're a drummer. You're a Funky Father. You stood up in the protest. You did what you had to do. I mean, that's the one thing. In my band, I was a conspiracy theorist. In your band, you were a conspiracy theorist. In Wendell's band, he was the conspiracy theorist. In Tom's band, he was the conspiracy theorist. In the Funky Fathers, we're just people, right? We're just normal dudes talking about stuff. You know, we don't call it conspiracy theory. We could call it conspiracy investigation. You know, it's different. And it's lovely to be in a situation like that. Tim, you want to tell me what your experience was in that, recording situation?
Oh, man. I was packing up. We were packing up to go to Mexico, and there was a lot of stuff to be done, and nobody was happy about me going off and doing a recording in some dungeon. And so I said, Mike, look, man, all I need is my kick and my snare, my hats, and my ride. I don't use any toms in this band or anything. It's just super simple. Just ask him to strike everything from the drum stand, and I will just bring in what I need. I'll set up in 10 minutes, and we'll go. And I get there, and everything's bolted to the floor, bolted to the racks. Can I move this cymbal just 1 inch over? Oh, no, you can't do that. Everything's in its place. So, I'm underneath the beam, and I got cymbals over here, and I'm trying to play. Oh man, and it's 100 and something degrees, and I was just pissed. And you know what? It turned out I actually play better when I'm pissed off because I just don't care. It's just like I don't even care about the music or how I play or anything. I'm just totally distracted by how pissed off I am, and I always play better that way. So that's why it was one of the better sessions I had, except for the song I didn't know.
What song is that anyway? I forget.
Tom, what was your experience like?
Well, in the beginning, little frustration. People were kind of rolling in whenever, and I live in New Almaden, so I was there. I'm like, okay, well, this is what we're doing, and then next thing you know, people's interpretations of what was going on that day kept changing. I'm like, crap. Are we able to get everyone here at once for just a little while? And Scotty's setting up time, who's a great guy, is my neighbor who has the dungeon. And he's got really good gear for recording. And he's just a really super guy, and I thank him for doing what he did that day. But once we got going, man, it was a lot. It was uncomfortable. I mean, it was really hot. We were sweating bullets, and I guess my phaser was on too much. Yeah. Other than that, and then the frustration sometimes with the gear, because that whole room is set up just to walk in and play. Some of the top-notch amplifiers, bass cabinets, any drum set is all top-notch, and Scotty is just one of those kind of guys. He's a gearhead, so he's just got all the best stuff set up. So in his mind, you go in, you sit down, you play through my gear because you can't get any better than my gear. And he's right, by the way. But then Lawrence gets there. He's like, well, I want to play through my gear. And we're like, but it's going to change the whole dynamic of the room and everything. And he's got it equalized to the point where the woofers in the room all woof at the same time to get the right rhythm. I mean, he's kind of a technical kind of geek like that. So that was a monkey wrench. And then, Tim was, playing like this, some of the time. But overall, it was a great experience. I mean, I loved it. And then I guess it was a couple months later, maybe, Scotty came over and he's like, with the hard drive, and he's like, here it is. So we had a few drinks and listened to it. And I was just like, this isn't perfect, but it's really fun to listen to. It was so much fun to listen to. We really enjoyed every song. I mean, yeah, there was hiccups, but every song was a lot of fun to listen to. And we listened to the whole thing, numerous times and had a few drinks and just enjoyed it, And yeah, it took a long time for us to get that to Mike. And then, there was some confusion whether Scotty was going to mix it down. He was willing to, but he's got a full-time job. He's busy. So everyone's busy. So it was hard to get that dialed in and do that. But eventually I'm like, Scotty, just get me all the tracks, which also took more time because it's not just on a little simple hard drive. He's got to bring the whole thing and get that to Mike. And Mike got it. It took him a long time to mix it. Mixing's not fun. I mean, I've done it a little bit, and I don't want to do that crap. It's the reason I hire someone to do that shit. But at the end of the day, it's a great album, and I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm thankful to be a part of it. A lot of gratitude to all you guys. So you guys are a blessing, all you guys.
That album sounds great. I'm sad I wasn't on it.
Yeah.
Well, now we got another album coming up, and if there's any way I can get both you and Gene on it, I'm going to. But you're definitely going to be on it.
I'll be your touring guy, man. I'll be your going across the big pond guy.
I love the concept of Funky Fathers being like, you could go anywhere and a Funky Father come play with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to record a song, I mean,
awesome.
It's just kind of the original concept, right? Millions of fathers across the world.
Yeah, and we don't consent.
Yeah.
That's the fact, none of the Funky Fathers can to any of this stuff. And that is like the one unifying factor besides the fact that these guys rip when they play, and it's easy to play with them. But yeah, me and Tom and Wendell, we went over. We had a replacement Funky Father join us. Rob Downey. He was getting down with me and Wendell and Tom. and we played a lot of songs together. It was a beautiful experience. You know, we ended up in a tent, me and Wendell, with Brian McPherson. You know, and he's another freedom songwriter who lost all of his fan base, or most
Same
of his
story.
fan
Those stories were all so similar, weren't they, Mike?
because he's like, I'm gonna stand in the truth, saying songs that like are real, and that was it. You can't do that in this world, apparently. I think you can. I think it's important that we do. And I'm proud of him for standing up. I'm proud of Wendell for making his way out. You know, it wasn't easy for, you know, he's a father. He's got 2 kids. They're still in high school, you know, to get out to England and make that trek and decide that, you know, we're going to do this no matter what. We're going to make it happen to spread the message all the way to another, like, continent. I have a lot of respect for these guys because they, you know, we're not getting rich doing this, let me tell you. But it's important, you know. And
Not much money in the truth, right?
well, I don't know. I think there's a lot of money in truth. We just have
spiritual currency in truth.
Right.
real currency in truth.
Yeah, real currency.
That's true.
Fiat dollars on its way out anyway. Who cares about that?
Oh, yeah, England was great. I mean, one thing I loved about England was it's a smaller continent. I mean, it's very small. So the unification there is just incredible. Me and my wife Donna stayed there an extra week, and I was really disappointed because Victorious was supposed to play at the festival, which we met last year, which was.
I was very disappointed too because they were the ones who rocked that thing last year and everything that was happening. They changed the whole vibe.
So anyway, after the festival, Don and I were like, well, what do you want to do next? We're thinking about maybe Ireland or maybe France or something. But I'm like, well, you know, we don't got that much more time. Let's just go somewhere in England. And, you know, in the back of my mind, I kind of already knew what I wanted to do. I'm like, I want to go to Brighton because that's where the Victorious is from. Shout out to Victorious. They're great. We Are Victorious, UK. Check them out. So we went to Brighton, and it's like between Vegas and Santa Cruz in the sense it's like beach town with gambling and just it's kind of crazy. A lot of transgender crap, but the overall place is beautiful and had a very rocky beach and everything else. So anyway, I reached out to Victorious and said, you know, I was disappointed in that you guys didn't play the festival. And you know, do you guys know any freedom music? Because all these in Brighton while we're here. And they're like, no, not really, but we're having a rehearsal Monday, so why don't you just come by? So we went by to their rehearsal studio and listened to them rehearse, had a great time. We all, at the end, end up dancing in their little studio and had a great time. And just made some really good connections in England. And now that I'm friends with some of those guys over there, I'm seeing videos from what they're still doing over there in England. And of course, you don't hear about it on the news. I mean, they're still in the streets. I mean, protesting and with love and with smiles on their face. And you know, I'll have to share that with you guys because I just saw one today, and they go like almost every other weekend and just hand out flyers. They had the Hope Festival last weekend, and maybe it's because it's a smaller continent. They still have kind of a nation mentality, and you know, we're English, you know, and they just have a wonderful. Community over there, wonderful freedom community over there. And yeah, I want to go back next year. I'm sure Mike Wendell do. Tim, if you can make it, I'd love you to come because it was a blast, you know.
Yeah, I gotta play with Tim.
If you did do it again, I'd love to like do more than one show, you know, maybe do the festival and like, you know, as many as we can while they're as we're there.
Well, to hook us up, Mike.
But it's so big. I mean, you almost have to drive like 600 miles to the next gig, and then even then it's a diluted crowd. You know, where there it's concentrated. You know, it's just have more of that unity there. I've noticed.
Yeah, I noticed there was a lot of festivals going on this last summer. Apparently,
yeah, tons. Yeah, they just had one called the Hope Festival.
Like-minded festivals.
A lot of like-minded festivals. A lot of wonderful, just loving people there. A lot of loving. Freedom lovers.
You know, so. Hey, Mike, I wanted you to talk a little bit about your reasons for not putting it online.
Okay. I mean, this is like something that's been pissing me off for years. So I don't know if you guys remember Napster.
Yeah, Napster.
So apparently I had a song that was in the top 100 in Napster pretty much their first few years before they got shut down, right, for like stealing everybody's songs. And that what was Napster's like whole thought process, like what they would tell people why you should be on Napster is like, well, you can increase your. We're getting rid of the record label. We're doing you guys a favor, and you guys can now go out and build an audience and build up your ability to make money playing live. Well, I just got kicked out of a band, and so while this song was like running through their service, I had no way to capitalize on any of that stuff, right? So there's a middleman in there, right? The record label's a middleman. You know, when I toured, I don't know if you know, but like I was in a band called Skank and Pickle. We were known and able to like play all across the United States constantly for 5 years. And we could sell CDs out of the back of our cars and make a good freaking living. CDs and shirts. You know, musicians at that time, that's how we made money. That's how we were able to survive when we didn't have that Sony contract, right, from the devil himself. And so we didn't ever like really go into that kind of venue where they controlled you. We were able to record our music by ourselves. People are like, you can't record by yourselves. We recorded by ourselves and put out albums, and we able to pay that back, right? You know, and you're not getting rich, but you know you're able to survive. You can make a living, right? And then Napster came out, and I just watched as that all disappeared. And then who's like running, YouTube, right? That freaking dude who started Napster. This is his algorithm. All of this stuff that's going on is through the same freaking guy who like was told he couldn't do it, but he just adjusted it just enough. Who's YouTube? It's some middleman. It's a middleman. Everywhere you go, there's a freaking middleman putting his hand out. We're gonna do you a favor. We're gonna make sure that you are able to go on tour because we allow it. Right? And now we've seen what happens when you go against the narrative of YouTube or whatever, like any of those other programs that are run out of Google, Facebook, whatever. You talk about stuff they don't want to have here, they shut you down. Right? So you're giving away your rights when you give people the ability to control what you do. So I mean, even funkyfathers.com is on a platform. I'll give you that. I understand that. But if you go to funkyfathers.com and you buy the Super Spreaders of Liberty CD, what you're going to get is from the artist. What you're going when I sell an album, I'm going to be able to give Tim and Tom and Lars and Gene some money because it's hard to live without money, right? So I just like personally, at some point, I'd like to completely disassociate from the internet because I feel like that is where you give away your power. But at the same time, I got to acknowledge, I don't know Tim. I don't know Tom. I don't know John. I don't know Will. And I don't know Wendell without the internet, right? So it is definitely a push and pull kind of experience. But if you're getting something, if you're buying the Funky Fathers from something that's not funkyfathers.com, it's a bootleg, right? So we're basically just trying to reestablish that footing where you can just sell CDs. I mean, you can, but here's the deal. If you go to funkyfathers.com, what's going to come up is the contact page. And you just write, you put in the contact You put in, I'm interested in getting this CD, and I'll send you some details about how to do it. And when you do that, there's going to be this where is it? This sticker right here will be included with any purchase you make. The whole thing is like I'm trying to do it as an exchange. It's a music exchange.
It's a direct exchange.
It's a direct exchange between the artist and the listener.
Love it.
Rather than going to Spotify and all these guys who are just selling advertisements. Basically, I'm an advertisement for advertisements. I don't want to be an advertisement for someone's advertisement that I don't even know what the advertisement is. Why would I want to do that? I don't even believe in any of this stuff that they're selling. There's very little stuff on the internet, and anything I see on the rectangle, I believe, is a lie. Anyways, I'll probably look at this later. I'll be like, I'm lying to myself. But anyways, I just think it's time for the artists to put back their claim to their music rather than giving it away to all these people from the possibilities of having a blowout album and selling 1 million copies. If you sell 1 million copies on Spotify, what do you pay? $1,000? If you have 1 million listens, I guess if you actually sell an album, but nobody buys anything anymore. There's a few people. I'm going to put that to the test, though. I mean, that's the thing. If we really believe in freedom and supporting the people who are ready to stand in freedom, you should be going to their websites and buying stuff off their website. That's as close as you can get. Or go to their shows. Right? I'm gonna play, and when I play, I'll have shirts and I'll have albums. And my goal is to go to Mexico and record an album with Tim and Lars and Tom and Wendell and Gene. That's my goal. If we can sell albums on the website that go directly to the band, makes that happen. You go to Spotify and they give you an advertisement you don't even know you're listening to, to get your COVID shot. I don't want that. Nobody wants that. So to me, this is an effort to take back the power of the artist to speak directly to the people who are interested in the music.
Well, yeah, that's a great idea because even bands I was in, like Grandpa's Chili, we have stuff on Spotify and out there. A couple albums that we've done. Have I seen any royalties or anything? I don't even know. I mean, not that I know if anyone's. I wouldn't even know if people are buying it. I'm sure we sold some. And I don't get it anything.
It wasn't that
Some
thing.
of the songs I actually wrote.
Yeah, that's funny you say Napster because that's like the beginning of the technocratic.
There you go.
Impingement on intellectual property for the artist.
The technocratic takeover is a real thing.
That was the
That
beginning.
was right around 2001, right?
Yeah. They want
But it did give Radiohead some publicity, that they weren't able to get otherwise. So pros and cons, right?
Hey, Mike, can you hold the album up again?
Yeah.
There we go.
These are the boys that played on the album. It's like the one picture I have. There's Tim on drums and Lars over there with the purple beanie and me on the guitar and Gene with his headphones on and Tom just smiling it up, man. You know what? What you can see on this picture, I don't know if you guys can see it well, but we're happy, right? We're enjoying what's going on. And let me tell you, there wasn't a lot of joy going on around here. Just to reiterate about I went and played the Capitals in the Capital of the Capital tour, and both, in order to get to the contiguous states, I ended up in Austin twice, and Wendell came out and played both times with me, and we just jammed out, right? But it was
Austin, the blueberry and the strawberry pie.
right. Austin, the blueberry and the strawberry pie, right? You know, it's like a red state with the blueberry as the capital. I mean,
Love it.
yeah. So it was beautiful to like go around and end up playing, like, you know, going to Connecticut, going to New York, and making my way around and being able to play with people who have a like mind and are willing to actually show it. There's a lot of people who actually agree with us. I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm a Lyft driver and I drive a lot. I'm a driver because I'm technically driving because I'm doing it for money. Right? I'm not traveling like I did with the Funky Fathers. Like Funky Fathers was traveling, but as a Lyft driver, I end up talking to people. And just the other day, I picked up this guy, and he was at this club, and it's very loud. And I said, "Hey, you probably held a lot of conversations in there, didn't you?" And I'm taking him home at 3 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning, or whatever it was. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you couldn't really have a conversation. I was just trying to make some friends." I'm like, "Yeah, where are you from?" He's like, "Well, I'm from India. I'm out here for like 4 weeks or whatever." I'm like, or 4 months. And I'm like, "Well, what do you do?" And he's like, "I work for Pfizer." I'm like, "Oh, so you're part of the, do you work in the division that's trying to kill off humanity?" And he laughed. "No, I don't work in that division." I'm like, "Oh, do you work in the division that like makes
There's a division like that.
by the other program?" It's like, "Oh, no, I worked in the medical devices industry." And by the end of the ride, he acknowledged that we'd driven past these cars and a bunch of kids were hanging out. And they had masks on, right? And he's like, "Oh, it looks like they're about ready to do some crimes." Or I'm like, or else they're trying to keep safe from what we were going through the last 2 years. Remember that? And he's like, "Yeah, I remember that." And he's like, "The masks don't work because the virus, if you believe in viruses, is so small it goes right through the mask." So this is the dude from Pfizer who's saying that. And on this trip, I stopped in at the Georgia Guidestones, and I believe that I actually had a part of them coming down. That might be the Funky Fathers' appearance there might have actually caused the explosion.
I love it.
So, dude, you put a
Oh my
vibration in
God.
those
Super
in those
spreader.
stones.
Oh my God.
What?
You've been to the Georgia
song-
Guidestones.
Oh, great. This video's going to get tagged now.
Don't say it, John. Don't say it.
This is the song that we played. Listen to this jam. These guys are freaking great. All I know is like I have a badass band, like great members who like believe in conspiracy theories.
You get the bird landed on the Guidestone right when you started playing.
Rick and Raven. They'll put your poisons in a pill. They maim and injure, make you ill. Oh, now and then they're gonna kill. Experiments against the will. Yeah, why won't you just leave it in silence? Feel that? That Jim's pissed off. Yeah, why won't you just let it Yeah, if they're adding more in every shop, in every store. If I ain't you at the door, here is the salt they say to Lord. Yeah, why won't you just be silent? Yeah, why won't you just hide in the silence? Oh, why won't you give me a silence. Yeah, why won't you just believe in the science? Cause all man died intimidation, anti-dehumanization, anti-indoctrination, anti-sterilization, anti-segregation, anti-discrimination, anti-force injection. That's why I'm anti-vaccination. Coercion is weapon of choice. When that don't work, they bring on force. Or silence our dissenting voice. Or separate you from the source. Yeah, why won't you just be silent? Yeah, why won't you just lie down in compliance? Oh, why won't you give in to threats of violence? Yeah, why won't you believe in the science? Some anti-intimidation, anti-dehumanization, anti-indoctrination, anti-sterilization, anti-segregation, anti-discrimination, anti-force injection. That's why I'm anti-vaccination. Yeah, I'm anti-intimidation, anti-dehumanization, anti-indoctrination, anti-sterilization, anti-segregation, anti-discrimination, anti-forced injection. That's why I'm anti-vaccination.
I like that song.
Epic.
I like that song.
Yeah,
Right.
Done. That was well done too. Well, you guys just did that just now in real time. You just spliced that shit together.
real time.
Yeah.
That was shit. Y'all some creative cats right here.
I'll take it. Let's just roll with that. I like
Yeah,
it.
man. Good job.
Those dudes laid it down. I mean, you know, I met these guys at the beach. This is a band that doesn't really practice. Tom said we practiced one time. You know, I'm not
It's a jam
sure.
band.
We just like threw it down, and this is what we did in the studio. But this is what we did every night, like Saturday night, Sunday morning, and whoever would come would come. And this is why I wanted to document this stuff, because this was like 2021. This wasn't.
We learned some of the songs on the fly with an audience in front of us. Mike, how does this go? What key is it in? Just tell us what key it is in, please.
I don't know.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out. We'll just roll with it, you know.
Well, it's funny is like Wendell's got this, like he's all, what is this chord? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, one of them chords is like, what the heck?
It's in this tune. It's in put a spell on you. There's a chord. I don't even know what it is.
Maybe diminished.
It's definitely
I don't know.
Diminished flat
Tom
5.
knows. Tom's acting like he don't know, but Tom knows. I don't know.
Nobody knows this chord. Chat GPT didn't know this chord. But it's in there. I love it. So the difference between me alone and this band, not really. Well, here come all the actors. This play has all been cast. Do not recognize them. Do not know the past. It wasn't so long ago. Different tale was told. And the ancient script has been rewritten. Products are to be sold. Yeah, they got you where they want to. Yeah, they put a spell on you. Oh, scared by these illusions, this new spooky ad campaign. Everywhere you turn, it's always founding in your veil. Sun do not go to beaches, do not breathe the ocean air. Yeah, they stole $6 trillion. Show how much they care. Yeah, they got you where they want to. Yeah, they put a spell on you. Yeah, they got you where they want you. Yeah, flipping through all them channels, programming mind control. Try to convince the world that the human has no soul. Get only flesh and blood. Yeah, we're only dirty mud. All the liars conspire to douse the fire, inspired with the breath of life. Yeah, they got you where they want you. Yeah, they put a spell on you. Yeah, I got one out there. Yeah, man. So
Yeah,
this
I like that too.
this is my experience. It's a totally like it got huge, right? Between like just doing it by myself. I mean, Will and John are like can like attest to this. You know, the difference between me playing by myself and that jam right there are two totally different things. Anybody want to comment?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
love the
yeah.
album. I love the album. Listened to it today. You sent me one. It's beautiful, man. I mean, it's like it's what we went through. It's kind of reminding people. It's a snapshot of that time, and yeah, it's powerful. It's the spirit in it. It doesn't matter if you guys practice. It's the spirit that's running through it. So, good job, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Some of the
Couldn't
best
agree
times
more.
of my life, for sure.
What's that?
Definitely some of the best times of my life, man. Just being out there and celebrating freedom and
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
It was simply the best. I mean, the Funky Fathers and the Freedom Foundation. So I used to call it the Funky Fathers and the Freedom Foundation. It got a little like confusing, but anyways, that's the banner behind me that we used to fly at the beach. Right. I love these guys. I love just being with people who are willing to stand in tyranny and just say, we're not having it, and they did it musically, and they're just straight up badasses. I mean, every one of the guys, like in this bottom row right here, Wendell, Tim, Tom, Gene, and Lars. I mean, unbelievable musicianship, and just the fact that you're willing to stand, and you weren't. It's not like I'm willing to stand right now because it's like I'm in a band. No, you were like it was other stuff, but this was part of your life, right? It was part of your life before you got into it. So this was the real thing. This wasn't fake. This wasn't like somebody. I mean, there are people out there who are playing music now who didn't say jack shit during this freaking pandemic.
Most of musicians didn't say shit.
Yeah, a lot.
All of them shut their freaking pie holes.
Yes.
Every freaking one of them. Funky Fathers didn't do that. And these guys who played with me, they didn't do that. They weren't about that before they even met me. And that's a fact. These guys were standing, Wendell's like standing up in the Capitol, literally throwing down UNESCO stuff in your face. And I met him, like, yeah, man. And then it turns out he's a badass fucking bass player, right? And then I met Tim, and he's like, yeah, we're at Nick's house or whatever. And like, we're opening a committee to reopen Santa Cruz to save lives. That's before I ever played music with him. Tom's over here like dealing with the medical crap for 20 freaking years. Total lies shoved down his throat every day. And then the COVID happened. He's like, hey, man, you guys might want to think that the COVID might be a bunch of BS. No, he was already on it. Lars, same way. Lars in 2019 at a protest. It's the first time I met him at the in front of the boardwalk. We're protesting what went through already, 2019, when they approved this bill. And the Latinos were met with medical freedom, and we went down there to the boardwalk and we set up and protested and said,
For the first time, I'm just realizing that's one great reason to play this music out is because you'll meet some more musicians who agree. Like, ding, I'm like, I've been playing with you for a couple of years, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's why.
It seems like I've known you guys forever almost.
I just self-excised myself from my bands. Both of them. I just told them. I put something up on Facebook about William Thompson, knowing that this is not going to
great story.
Go that great with everybody. Everybody knows that story, Dr. William Thompson.
No, nobody knows that story. You tell the story, Wendell. Tell the story.
Everybody here knows the story. But so Dr. William Thompson, he was a doctor at the CDC who was tasked with finding the efficacy and the safety of the MMR vaccine. MMR is measles, mumps, rubella. 3 in 1. You get 3 bangs for your buck.
What a deal.
3 right off the bat for your first well baby visit. Well baby. So anyway, I'm not going into all that. I wrote a song about that, but I can't. All my songs are just crazy and goofy and dark. So I can't. I have fun doing them. I really do. But my songs I can do and not feel bad about.
Dude, we found out. That's the one you first told me about. I'm like, this.
Yeah. One of these days, I'll be ready. We're in 70. I'll flip that one out. And I'll be dead. Anyway, no. So William Thompson, yeah, and so he came out. I guess he really had a conscience. He's like, damn, I can't believe what we did. But we did. We erased all this information saying that the MMR vaccine does cause autism, and not only that. This is why my band, the Afro Funk Experience, I had to drop it on the Afro Funk Experience. I just outed my band. I wasn't going to talk about it. Damn. Anyway, we can delete this later, right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's the truth, bro.
I wanted to. I was like, well, my band. I know it's going to be controversial. There's going to be some fans. They're going to be like, what are you talking about? You can't talk about that. But I said, my band's about black folks. And William Thompson said, not only does it cause autism, but 2 to 3 times more in black male babies. He said it. Now, even if it was a psyop, it needs to be said. People need to know this is what this psyop's about. Because you can say it's a psyop. You can go ahead and say, oh, they just try to create the tension between white folks and black folks by saying. That's how I think. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. Well, we need to hear about it. Let's look into it a little deeper. And so anyway, I'm going way into it. But so I felt like that was so important that even though it would be controversial, and some people wouldn't like us anymore just because you brought it up, it's worth fucking saying.
Amen.
And I couldn't back off that. So on my Facebook page, I booked the band. I kind of started the band, sort of. I was kind of like the founder of the band. I was like, I'm gonna put it up and see how it goes. And sure enough, and I knew how it was gonna go. I knew people were like, I can't believe Wendell, because they knew I ran the band. Wendell would actually talk about something like this on a band page when we're about trying to have a good time. And more stuff came, and like I said, I made that call. I don't know if it was afterwards, but I was like, hey man, I think we should get together. This was, I guess, after 276, right? This was COVID when I made the call 5 years later? I should say that word, but the Rona. The Rona. I knew, they were just buying out everything. And so I don't know where we started with this, but that's how I got started in figuring out that there is a big problem, and we need to kind of talk about it as much as we can with whoever's willing to listen. And being canceled or whatever, I tell you what, I'm gonna say this right now, John. I thought being woke meant you just might consider the earth is a flat motionless plane. And then they flipped that shit. They were like, oh no, we're not gonna go there,
man. We're sticking
propane tank.
We're sticking with the old faithful. Come on now. That's my alibi right there, bro.
You know the story. You know the story about the propane tank, John.
I have to ask before you get off the subject.
Friendly family gathering, a husband and.
All right, we're going off on a tangent now. Let's go.
Have a couple of beers around the campfire.
Bringing it back to
the son was like, hey, you're flat.
Look at you hooked up with my guy.
They start talking. The father threw a fucking propane tank in the campfire. That's a true story. That's how I know you can't talk about flat earth to people.
Well, listen to me. I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm a Mattingly. Do you know who landed on the moon, supposedly? With Armstrong?
Oh, no.
Mattingly?
Ken Mattingly.
Stop.
Mattingly goes to space, lands on the moon. That motherfucker ain't staying in the fucking capsule. He's out walking around, and that didn't happen. That's how I know it.
Listen, I don't know what happened there. I'm just saying having a good talk about stuff. It's some interesting topics to talk about.
I
don't know
what did Tim want to say? Tim, what do you want to say?
Just going back to Dr. William Thompson, I have to ask you guys, were you at the protest in Sacramento trying to get Congress to subpoena Dr. William Thompson? Were you guys there for that?
Was that in Sacramento?
Yeah. Because I was there, and I was just thinking it'd be funny if you guys were there and we hadn't even met yet, and we're all at the same protest, probably bumping into each other.
Oh, there's a bunch of people like that. Like, I know John and I met, but I didn't remember we met there. I know we met.
Yeah. No, I mean, I wonder if you were there, like, with a certain mission, and we were there, like, a part of a rally, but there were ones where we would lobby. But it is interesting to think, like, with what Wendell's saying, but again, not to go too deep down the rabbit hole, because we got to wrap this up soon. But that, like, the whole William Thompson thing, you look back now and you're like, okay, that was the beginning, the measles outbreak. This is the beginning of this new movement. And then all of a sudden they work us all the way up to 2019, and then they hit us with 2020. And we were all, I know for me, I was like, this is it. Like, Mom, this is what I've been talking about. They're going for it, from day one. My mom's looking at me like I'm crazy, but I've been talking to her about this for the last 5 years, but no one listens, and you're like, this is what I've been talking about. If you take it away from the kids, we're next, and so we probably were there. But yeah, it's just interesting to look at it in hindsight. And but again, like Wendell said, it's still important to have those discussions and figure out, wait a minute, because even if it's a psyop, there's a reason they're doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, I totally, like, I was probably there for that, Tim, because there's a lot.
When did you say it was, Tim? What year?
Man, it had to be like, God, I don't even remember. It was so long ago.
I know Posey
2017. Yeah, that was when Vax came out. Was 2015 or 2000.
When Posey went to he addressed this
bill. Had a weird bill in 2018. There was like a homeschool bill. Like, remember when they had the weird ass family who like had tortured their kids or whatever, and they're like, oh, they're homeschoolers. They had like weird freaking government employees walk into your house and look around and make sure everything's cool.
Yeah, they wanted to prove that, but it didn't go through, did it?
No, it didn't go through because
it kind of did go through. It did go through with AB 262.
Well,
that's basically what that was.
No, AB 262 is different than like that one. That one was about literally walking into your house and looking around as a homeschooler. 262 was the one that gave the health director.
Yeah,
health
the same premise.
No, it was a little different because in SB 262 was the health director. If there were 3 cases of any disease in any county, anywhere, the health director of that county could shut down the town. They could use the sheriff, the police, the fire department, all these services to burn the house down if they wanted to, because it was infected with this disease.
Right.
That was going on in SB 262, and the reason it got passed through, it was a hepatitis C.
Hepatitis A.
No, maybe hepatitis A.
In the homeless.
It's like having a cold, right? It's nothing. And so the homeless were apparently testing positive for hepatitis A in San Diego and all around. They're like, well, this bill is only about putting in the hand washing stations. And so it was unanimous. The Republicans and the Democrats all voted it through.
Wow.
And then, wouldn't you know, as soon as it passed through in March, when did we shut down the whole world? Oh, wait, was that in March?
It was March.
It's always good to look at those things that happen because you see these indications of how things are done, right? They condition you or they convince you, like you said, hand washing stations. That's all. We're just going to get a bunch of hand washing stations.
Right? Yeah, we would never burn down your house or make you stay home or prevent you from going to work or prevent you from being able to buy groceries.
For an invisible thing we can't even prove exists.
Right.
Or go to the beach.
Bullshit.
Yeah. And so, and then they made all the kids stay home and they go on Zoom. And I'm like, in my mind the whole time, I'm like, what is this about? This is about putting Zoom in children's bedrooms.
Yeah.
Right? So they can look around and see what you're all about.
Oh, right? My kids didn't go to school the first year here in Texas because
I pulled my kid out.
They had the mask, and I was like, they got to stay home. Man, they made these kids stay on their computers for 9 freaking hours, bro. I mean, one of my kids, he's a studious kid. He likes to study, and he likes to get shit done. He was on his computer for 9 hours.
9 hours?
Yeah, because he didn't go to school. I mean, that's what I feel like. They made it extra hard for kids who didn't want to wear masks. And
didn't want to get the mask on and go to school and follow the rules.
And then that year, they were like, Abbott was like, we're done. And I was like, yeah. Yeah, now our kids are kind of superstars because they held out.
I love it. And this song was written for the kids during the COVID stuff. This was one of those things. And the way this band played it, It's outrageous. I mean, literally. I mean, I'm playing a two chord song, 3-chord song about the suffering children during this COVID stuff, and the way the band played it is just like it's crazy. I mean, literally, I'm just doing nothing. I'm singing a song, but it's real. These guys made it. Say, hey, kid, you got a lot of spirit. But don't you ever forget it. I said, hey, kid, you got a lot of spirit. But don't you ever forget it. You got a lot of heart. You got a lot of soul. You got the divine swimming through your blood flow. You got a lot of joy. Yeah, you got a lot of love emanating from you like the sun above. I say, hey, kid, you got a lot of spirit. Won't you ever forget it? I said, hey, kid, you got a lot of spirit. But don't you ever forget it. But if you do, it can always return to you. No matter how much pain you go through. Always remember to be true. And let that natural spirit come pouring through. Come on, pour it out. Say, hey, kid, you got a lot of spirit. Don't you ever forget it. I said, hey, kid, you got a lot of spirit. But don't you ever forget it. You got a lot of fight. You got a lot of might. You got a lot of wisdom and insight. You got a lot of strength. Yeah, you got a lot of power. More beautiful than all the blooming flowers. I said, hey, kid, you got a lot of spirit. Don't you ever forget it. I said, hey, kid, you got a lot of spirit. Don't you ever forget it. But if you do, it can always return to you. No matter how much pain you go through. Always remember to be true. And let that natural spirit come pouring through. Pour it out, Lord. Come on now. Let's say, hey, kid, you got a lot of spirit. Don't you
ever forget it, I said, hey, kid, you got a lot of spirit. Don't you ever forget it. You got a lot of heart. You got a lot of soul. You got the divine swimming through your blood flow. You got a lot of joy. Yeah, you got a lot of love. Emanating from you like a sign above. I said, hey, kid, you got a lot of spirit. Don't you ever forget it. I said, hey, kid, you got a lot of spirit. Don't you ever forget it. I said, hey, kid, you got a lot of spirit. Don't you ever forget it. I said, hey, kid, you got a lot of spirit. Don't you ever forget it. But if you do, it can always return to you.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. That's a
One
new
of my
one for me.
favorite
I haven't
songs.
heard that one yet.
One of
That's
my favorite.
great.
Tom, you want to explain like your experience? I remember the first time we played that. I mean, literally, there was like freaking tears.
Yeah, I wept almost first time playing it. Honestly, sometimes I believe the first time playing that song, first time hearing it and playing it on the beach, was one of my best performances because it hit me so hard, and it was like almost a drug. I keep trying to chase that first experience with that song. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we've enhanced it since then, but something about that song just hits home, and I love playing that song. I love hearing that song. I mean, I almost got a tear in my eye just listening to it right now. It's a beautiful song. It's because in a way, sometimes I wonder, are there such things as adults? Maybe we're all kind of children, and it's personal, for me, because I feel like I don't even know what growing up means. I always just want to make sure to experience life like it's new every day, and that song really encapsulates that. And don't lose that spirit, because that's the essence that makes life important and fun and enjoyable and lovely.
Yeah, I
Well
feel
said.
like I'm almost 60 years old. There's a lot of children to me walking around this planet, whatever it is doing, and they're kids to me. A lot of them. Pretty much anyone who's 10 years younger than me, even people who are older than me.
Yeah,
still kind of like have that childlike.
I
mean, I hope to have a childlike existence my whole life, to like feel the joy and love about what life really is.
Yeah.
Experience that gift from the Almighty Creator of everything. And I think this totally encapsulated it. Those kids like were tortured during this. It's like nonsense. And I would like to just take the moment to give props to the parents who made their kids' life enjoyable during this nonsense and didn't fall for the baloney.
Amen. Yeah.
Yep.
So what about you? As far as that song goes.
Yeah. Sorry, were you talking to me?
Yeah. Just wondering like what your experience was with that tune.
Yeah, it was pretty magical, man. When I first heard that, I was like, wow, that is just I just imagine that song like rocketing up the charts one way or another, just coming out of nowhere and no backing by any record company or any platform or anything, but just like because everybody loves it everybody that hears it just loves it. I was just watching people's reactions, when we play it, and I just watch people and just how they react to it. It was just really cool, man. Everybody just absolutely loves that tune. It's really beautiful. It's simple, it's beautiful, and I think if everybody heard, if a lot of people could hear that song, I think it would be super popular. Like just crazy.
I don't think the Tavistock Institute would like it very much, though.
Yeah.
Tavistock.
Well, I would say this, the kids had like really endured a lot during that, and the Funky Fathers, like I think, totally appreciated what they were going through, and so to like be able to like put that in front of you guys and be able to.
Kids are still going through it.
I mean, the song, the recording that we did. It's 112 degrees outside. We're playing this song. I have to tell you, man. I was shocked in the middle of it by some microphone. They're like, I was like, but it didn't matter because the feeling of the song is like pretty outrageous. And then, like, I got to tell you this. So, me and Wendell, I don't remember exactly when it was. It may have been during the trucker convoy. And I guess it had to be like at the end of the end of the 48 states.
Yeah.
Then with Wendell, and we went down to the pool, right?
Yeah.
And that dude was like in his car across the parking lot. And he starts yelling, "Hey, man, are you guys going to play that song? Play that song again. That's a freaking hit." You remember that dude?
Yeah, I mean, it's my favorite song. It's hands down. I mean, it moves me just like Tom said. I can't. I just really enjoyed it. Just listening now, man, I got so moved because I was thinking about the origins of my dissension from the normalcy of my my brothers, the band. You travel with a band, they become your brothers. And I start thinking, shit, man, if they're gonna buy this, I don't know if I want to go on the road with them anymore. I'm like, so anyway, that song moves me big time because it's like they still. And I'm gonna say it. I'm sorry if they're listening. I'm sorry. I love them. They know I love them. They didn't get it, and I hope they get it now. It's the last bastion of your real civil rights is your body. That's where it stops. If you can't keep people from putting things in your body because they say you're gonna make someone sick or they didn't get it then, and I hope they get it now. That's all. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to take
Amen.
No, you're dead on, man. You're right.
Right there in the pool, like the whole deal, like, we're just giving it into the atmosphere, right? So I appreciate you guys for like being willing to put this stuff into the atmosphere when most of the world was terrified to even go out of their freaking house. Remember? So, for anybody who wants that album, just go to funkyfathers.com right now. Is set up to go to the contacts page and just fill out the contact thing, say you're interested in the album, and I'll get back to you about how to go about getting on it. I'm a little bit behind the times as far as like making it simple, but I will make it as simple as possible.
You should just put it on vinyl. Make them buy vinyl, Mike.
They can buy
$30 an album, $35 an album.
So just so every
42.
It's just if you don't have a way to play a CD, you'll have to wait a couple months because I don't want to put it out.
Gold-plated vinyl.
And I will be making vinyl. It's true. So if there are 100 people who want vinyl, just write it down in the contacts list, and I will get vinyl. Because
it might be a little bit more.
Just a bit more.
Well, it's going to cost more because it's going to be a fortune.
They'll download it to their MP3 player or whatever.
Oh, right, yeah. But anyways, yeah. So just if you go to Funky Fathers, find out this album is called The Super Spreaders of Liberty. I think it says right on the top. I don't know if you can see what that says, but basically fill in this application with your address and figure out where you want to go, and then I'll get back to you and we'll figure out how to make it happen, right? And what we can do. We have a physical address and we have a digital platform we can sell on, but I'm old school, and we have shirts or whatever. Here's the Funky Fathers t-shirt right here. This is it, right? Just so you know. There's
Will's modeling it, man. Will's modeling it.
50 of these left. I think Tom might be wearing one. Oh, Will's wearing one.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
No,
Whatever.
but I'm not right now.
Buy something, you'll get a free sticker. But if you sign up, I might send you a free sticker anyways, just for signing up.
Yeah, people should support. It's going right to you. It's going right to the artists. And, you know, you guys really embodied the spirit and energy of liberty, especially during a crazy-ass time of tyranny and slavery. I know personally I'm grateful that I was able to go out with John and a handful of times to the beach during that time and see you guys perform and play live. It's fantastic, man. It warms my heart, and I think people need to go support you, the music, get a shirt, and you know, keep jamming, keep being a super spreader.
Listen, I also want to say, man, John and Will, you know, a lot of people probably like cut off ties with you over this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, just basically because you were standing in truth.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you guys for
Amazing.
Freedom League
Live tonight.
exploring like what it means to be.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even want to think about what it means to be.
Yeah.
You know,
5 by 5 comms are clear. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well,
Episode 3 of Natural Freedom League is with Mike, and then episode 73. We actually did another one, but just the title got us taken off YouTube. I forget. It was like
Wendell.
It was like I don't know. It was something about the
SB 76
It
27.
was about us prophesying what was going to happen. It was like anyway. The title got us taken off YouTube. I'm pretty sure, and then I'm pretty sure this episode is going to test the algorithm for sure, because you can't get a bunch of people like us together and not, you know, get shadow banned or pulled off by YouTube. So,
But they like when you talk about flat Earth. They like that shit. They like it. They love it.
Well, maybe you saved it for bringing it up.
They love fights. They love that energy, like polarity. They like that. They like you to fight.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see.
Positive iode.
It'll be interesting to see how much it's changed. You know, like if this will stay up or if it'll get pulled down. But we'll post it in other places, and then appreciate you guys. You got to keep making art through all this, you know, all this tyranny, and that's what you guys did. So
I think we'll be pretty busy. I have a feeling more is coming, so we'll be busy. Yes, that's a good thing. Bring it on, bitches. You know.
Yeah.
the next album should be called Contagion.
I got something that looks monkeyish.
We got a lot of songs ready to record, right? So we just need to get some money coming in to get the war chest built up, to get these guys to record these other songs that are like, you know, maybe I wouldn't say more relevant, but more accessible to the masses. And they'll be singing along and not knowing that they're singing along to freedom music, right? So we got 3, 2, 1 snap. We got the embers of the liberty.
Embers of liberty, yeah.
Flame of liberty. We've got
Glowing green lights. Oh, you got
well, showing only glowing green lights. I know you want to play that one, so we'll make that happen. You know, we got.
What about the Dave Grohl song?
Let me tell you, like when we went to England, I played that tune.
Yeah,
that was their most memorable.
That was my favorite tune that day.
Exactly. Like Tom and Wendell can like attest to this, but the smiles in the audience were complete.
Was that our encore song? Was that the encore?
Dude, that was like halfway through. I like to clear out this first. I'm like, by the way, this one's about a lot of swearing.
Yeah.
But you know, if you want your kids to know how to swear comedically, then you know you might want to leave them here. But if you protect their ears or whatever, fair warning, you got to get them out of here right now. And then,
fine.
Wait, you can hear Stuart talking. You can hear Stuart cursing in the middle of it. When you try to explain, You try to explain. Listen, you might want to get your kids.
Fucking Stuart.
He was like, fuck them all. He's like, fuck them, fuck him too. Fuck him.
No,
He
Stuart.
was trying to explain it. He wouldn't let you finish explaining why.
I do woke up
Like
like
a character. We love Stuart. Stuart, if you're listening, we love you, brother.
Oh man, Stuart is
freedom music at 7:00 in the morning, and people would like, "Shut the f up, Brad." He's like, "This is freedom, bitches."
It's a freedom festival. What are you talking about?
So, the dumb motherfucking fucker song was a hit, and you can find that. It's on the funkyfathers.com. You can listen to it there. It's just a garage band version, but the version with a real human beings is going to be way better. I can't wait for the next album, and I'd like to just thank everyone here tonight for just being funky fathers and badasses of liberty. That's it. So I don't have super spreaders of liberty all over the place here.
Why don't you take us out with "Enjoy Yourself"?
All right, yeah, we can do that. Ready?
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Great.
guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you all for being part of my story. It was
Mike. Thank you, Mike, for being such a beautiful songwriter.
all night long. All night long. Keep that bonfire burning. Can you believe we did that? That's why we ain't at the bonfire. All right, this one's for Dave and Teresa and all of my friends who have met this freaking pandemic, plandemic, scamdemic, shamdemic, all the liars. We're straightened out by my good friends at the bonfire. Enjoy yourself. Let God and your thing. Enjoy yourself. We are still in the yeah, years ago, man. Just stay quickly as a week. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Let God and your thing. When you work for years and years, and you're always on the go. You never take a moment off, too busy making dough. One day you say you'll have some fun when you're a bazillionaire. You think of all the fun you have in your own rocking chair. Enjoy yourself. Let God and you think. Enjoy yourself. Just feeling nothing that is to go by just as quickly as a week. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Let God and you think. Where you gonna take that overseas trip? No matter what may. Yeah, you got your reservations made, but you just can't get away. Next year for sure, you'll have some fun. You really get around. Boy, how far can you travel? 6 feet underground. Enjoy yourself. Let God and you think. Enjoy yourself. For you're still in the that years ago, I just as quickly as a week. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Let God and you think. Come on now, enjoy yourself. Well, I got a friend named Dave. The cops follow him around town. Yeah, they break out his freaking window. They throw him to the ground. They said, Dave, you can't be doing that driving. You should have just traveling across the land. And the statute said no ordinance don't apply to the living man. Enjoy yourself. Let that anything. Enjoy yourself. You're still in the and you go by just as quickly away. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Let God and you say, come on, enjoy one. Yeah, I got a friend named Teresa. She's one badass lady. Yeah, checking into all the officers. You must be driving me crazy. It's really sweet with the word, but the shot just like the soul. And if you mess with her, my friend, you might miss your last goal. Enjoy yourself. Let God anything. Enjoy yourself. Well, you're feeling nothing. Yeah, you know I just said that's the way. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Let God anything. Well, you do not go, you're not good, no. You just don't care to dance. You ain't got any time for anything like moonlight or romance. And the only thrill you ever will get is $1 bills in a stack. But when you kiss them dollar bills, well, they just don't kiss you back. Enjoy yourself. Let God anything. Enjoy yourself. Well, you're spilling nothing. That years ago, I just said quickly as a way. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Let God anything. Enjoy yourself. Let God anything. Enjoy yourself. While you're still in the pain, that is the love I just said quickly as a wink. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself, let that anything. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. To all my friends from Santa Cruz, we are the town criers who no one listened to. Good night. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you in the next time around. I'm gonna miss you guys. Yeah. Well, thank you.